Hello, this is Debbie with the Bees Crochet, and today we will be making a granny square. In order to make your granny square, you will need a pair of scissors, darning needle, yarn, and your crochet hook. We will start off by making a magic ring. I will make a cross on the top of my two fingers, go underneath the bottom strand, hook onto the next strand right below that, pull that up, pull it through. Now we will take our working yarn and make 2 chains. This will count as one of 3 double crochets in our first cluster. We will make a double crochet, yarn over, go through your magic ring, pull up, pull through the first 2, and pull through the next 2 loops. Do that again, yarn over, go through the magic ring, pull the yarn up, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. Now you have 3 double crochets. Let's chain 2 and get ready to make our next cluster. We will have a total of 4 clusters of 3, one for each corner of our square. Let's do our double crochet, the second one, and the third one, chain 2. Let's go to our third cluster of double crochets, chain 2, and our fourth cluster of double crochets. All right, and after this fourth cluster, we will chain 2, and we will close the magic ring up by pulling that string underneath. That will close the hole up, and we are going to close our square by going underneath these 2 strands. That stitch, yarn over, pull through, slip stitch through the next loop. Let's chain 1, 2, 3. Now turn your work and we're going to make 2 double crochets right here in this corner. So that's 1 and 2, so that counts as our first cluster for this next corner on the second row. Now we are going to go over to our next corner. In this corner we're going to put a cluster of 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to chain 2 because this is a corner. We're going to have 2 sets of 3 in the corners. Okay, we just did half of a set in that first one, and we will put the other cluster with that one when we get back around. Okay, so you did your chain 2. We're going to put our other 3 double crochet clusters right into that same spot right there in the same, because you're turning, you need some kind of way to turn this corner. See, you got 6, you got 3 double crochet and 3. Then we're going to skip right on over to this next corner. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to have 2 clusters of 3. Here's your first cluster. 1, 2, 3, chain 2, and put our other cluster. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you have your 2 clusters of 3. Let's go to the next corner. Same thing. 1, 2, 3, and we're going to chain 2 and put 3 more double crochets for your second cluster. 2, 3. All right, now we're back to the beginning where we started, but we only put 3 in that one. So in order to get our 2 sets of 3 clusters, we will put our last 3 double crochets here right next to that first 3. And now you have to make a space between those, so we want to chain 2, and we're going to go over to our corner, and we're going to do a slip stitch. Pull that through and slip underneath that one. So now you're on your second row. So for our next row, we're going to chain 3. We're going to turn our work, and we're going to go into this first corner. And remember, when we start out on a different row, we're only going to put 3 in that corner. And we turn our work because as you continue with your granny square, this will keep your work, your square, straight. It won't tilt. Sometimes you'll see people granny square look tilted in the middle, but this will keep it perfectly straight. Okay, you did your 3, a cluster, or just 1 cluster. Now since we're on a different row, we will have 3 different holes to work in. So we have this hole here in the middle, but it's only going to get a cluster of 1. All sides of a granny square will only have 1 cluster of 3. So there's your 3 in there. Okay, and now we will go to our corner, and in this corner we will have 2 clusters of 3 because it is a corner. 1, oh, let's do that over again. 1, 2, 3, and since we're in this corner, we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then we're going to make our second cluster here. 1, 2, 3. All right, now we're here in the middle again, and we're going to make 1 cluster of 3 double crochets. Remember, a cluster is 3 double crochets all together. 2, 3. All right. Now, you got your 6, you got your 1, and now we're getting ready to go into the next corner. Let's make our 2 clusters. 1, 2, 3, and in between the cluster we put a chain 2. 1, 2, then we put the second cluster into that same corner. And you see, when you put it in that corner, it's getting ready to turn so it can get over to the other side. Let's go to the middle. Put 1 set every time you make a cluster on the side. It only gets 1 cluster of 3 double crochet. A cluster is 3 double crochet. So you got that. And let's go over to our next corner, which will get 2 clusters of double crochet. So that's 1, 2, 3, and we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and put your second cluster in there. 1, 2, 3, and here we are on another side again. We only make 1 cluster. That's 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Okay. If you got that in that middle, all right. Now we have our corner where we first started. Okay. And we're going to go right into that space and make our last cluster. 1, 2, 3. And since that's the first one we started with, we need to put a chain 2, and then we're going to close this corner off by going in the top of that and pull through. So there's a slip through and a slip through, and we'll finish with our square. And since we're finished with our square, we're going to slip stitch through here, take our scissors, cut the yarn, take our hook and pull that piece of yarn through, pull on it to tighten it. Then we're going to turn our square over on the back, and this is our tail that we had that came from that magic ring. And then we're going to take this tail and we're going to weave it in. We're going to weave it in. See? We'll take it and just weave underneath these strands of yarn. Pull it through. Let's weave it on around a little bit more because we don't want it to come loose. Then you can go the opposite way and go underneath those strands of yarn and just weave underneath there. All right, and we'll take our scissors and we can cut that, hold it kind of taut, cut the end. All right, so, and at the end where we just finished our square, we're going to take that piece of yarn also and weave it in, but I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. Okay, so what I'm going to do, so it can be like a invisible weave in, I'm going to go to this stitch right here, and I'm going to put my yarn through, pull it through. Then over here, I'm going to just take it and push my needle through here, pull it, and the top of that will look like a stitch. Go to the back of your square and just weave it through the yarn in the back. Okay, do this. I usually like to do it about 3 times. That should be good enough. Just weaving it back and forth. I'm just trying to make sure that it goes through these pieces of yarn really good. Let's take our string and pull it a little taut. Take our scissors, go all the way to the bottom and snip. And then when you open it up, ooh, you have your beautiful granny square. So now I have a red one and I have a yellow one. Aha! All right, please like, subscribe, come back and see me again at the Bees Crochet. Like, comment, and just like, comment, and subscribe. The Bees Crochet. Have a great day. Bye.